So let's start the first topic, which of course I don't have 100% ready. Right there. Leslie Grace reveals her responsibility as Batgirl. I need people to pull me back from the ledge on this one, because most of my issues with these types of conversations have to do with an overblown sense of ego that tends to come from people in the entertainment industry when they're having these discussions, and what I believe to be pretty inauthentic. What I would say is like inauthentic to like the actual demographics of what they're talking about. So it says, in an interview with E! News, Batgirl star Leslie Grace touched on her excitement with the upcoming role, including the responsibility that comes with playing a role in reference to representation in media. We haven't seen a lot of Latino superheroes or actors of Latin descent within the superhero world. So it was just such a beautiful opportunity to be granted such a big responsibility as well. I do want to ask, first of all, do you think of this as a responsibility? Does this make her responsible for culture or for representation, or is her job simply to give a good performance and get the most out of the role for the sake of the movie and what it brings to the studio, because that's what she was hired to do?
They're calling it a responsibility because they have an overinflated sense of how important their jobs are in entertainment.
Yep.
But I actually just want to talk about how ugly her outfit is.
She's not wrong.
Her
guys,
costume.
I'm going to scroll down here. Now, it needs to be said that this was like an early image that was taken from it. This is an old image.
So you think it's improved?
I don't know if it's...
We should describe it for anyone who's listening.
Okay, she looks like she's in a jumpsuit that would be worn by like a car mechanic.
But very fitted.
It's not very fitted.
Yeah,
it's not fitted enough.
Look at the arms.
It looks uncomfortable. She has like all of her curves are covered up.
Does she have a cape? Is that what's happening?
There's
on
a
the
cape.
side there?
There's a cape behind her.
I feel like this costume is like a halfway point between a lot of things that they get criticized for, like overly sexual female.
I see
leads,
nothing sexualized about it.
but
at
also
all.
like it can't be too dowdy, and in some ways it's just coming off as like
It
the
looks
worst of
neutered.
everything.
What do you mean
She doesn't
dowdy?
even look
Dowdy,
like a woman.
like not flattering to the figure, to like kind of unspecial or conservative.
That's what I'm
Is she
saying.
also
It's like the
wearing
new Puritanism that women can't be
man,
women because
I love Puritans. So don't bash them on this
It's
podcast.
I will.
And that is because men are the traditional target market of these movies, and modern day logic tells you that women can be beautiful for themselves or to impress other women, but they cannot be beautiful if men are the ones in charge of the production, because that would be anti-feminist. And that is, of course...
I think it's weird that her hair is down, because I thought you were trying to keep your identity a secret. Also, wouldn't that get caught on things while you're fighting?
Oh, that does.
You know
look
what I mean?
stupid,
Like
yeah.
that's a logistically dumb idea.
I don't think it's a fairly comic book accurate depiction, if not a little bit. I think frumpy is the word I like. I like frumpy.
It is frumpy. Yeah.
Frumpy is if anybody ever watched the X-Files, that's literally like when Gillian Anderson. They gave them these overcoats that were literally like the worst overcoat you could ever give someone in the history of the world. It hides like
Sorry.
they made it worse for her in like season 2 because she got pregnant, so they were like putting her in frumpier jackets to like hide the pregnancy.
Yeah.
But we've come for a full circle now where you're frumpy to defeat the patriarchy, and
It's like,
that's
how do you counteract sexualizing women's bodies by making them look like they have zero curves?
like she mostly like I feel
it's
like
covering her entire chest.
right. She
Makes
looks
her look square.
It also looks like it's compressing her. Like she looks like she could be, because like Catwoman famously wears like a very intensely tight
Yes.
suit, and her curves are obvious. This looks like it's like the worst of all angles.
Yep.
To go back to your representation question,
Thank you.
I think I know. I knew you wanted to get there. And
I want to do this delicately because I'm not trying to be disrespectful to anyone. But I'll just say this off the top of my head. I was able to write down in less than a minute these names when she says that it's generally like that they're not represented. There's a part in the article here where she says Grace herself is Afro-Latina, and her portrayal of Batgirl in the upcoming film will mark another step forward for diverse representation in film, a feat that Hollywood has historically been known to slack on. So Jessica Alba, Rosario Dawson, Zoe Saldana, Gina Torres, Tessa Thompson, Laz Alonso, all off the top of my head, all not just part of those demographics, but in sci-fi or superhero movies alone. And those are the Jessica Alba role of Dark Angel goes all the way back to the year 2000. And then she, of course, was part of the Fantastic Four.
So do you think that this actress is just not aware of the industry she's now entering into? Like she's making an assumption about it?
I think that there's no end goal. I think it's just more of everything. And that's fine. But it's like she's saying like it's her job to represent them. But there is representation.
But that's
in
what I
these
mean. Like,
fields.
do you think that she just she's not aware of what the superhero DC Marvel whatever world has produced, so she's not aware that like actually they have a history of
I think that they have a lot of them have a problem with that, because most of these actors, through no fault of their own, have any connection to want to be of the source material or desire to represent these characters. Honestly, they're looking to boost their careers, which is fine. It's their job. They want to come out of these roles with better and better. What's up?
And none of them make these statements, by the way. Like all of these statements are made for them by the same 12 interchangeable assholes that like are PR people that are following the same narrative for like a decade now.
And
like it's the same blend, like, oh, I'm just trying to represent my peoples.
Yep.
Like, and everyone's on that, like little, I don't know what to call it, hustle, let's say.
Wouldn't it be interesting if she was like, oh yeah, I'm just trying to represent my people, the people of Ohio. You know what I mean? Like something that isn't race related, but like is sort of an innocuous part of demographic politics.
And endearing, like nerds or something,
And what bothers me about, but also I was like, well, what about me? Because I was like, what about I was like, representation, because this is a very classically I was like, I'm Croatian. Is there Croatian representation in cinema? And I found one list that had a list of 10 people, and I only knew like three or four of the names.
Mm-hmm.
It was like Eric Bana, Joe Manganiello, and John Malkovich were the only ones that I really recognized. The rest I had never heard of. But it goes down here. It says Batgirl is set to spread the spotlight for a number of underrepresented groups as well. Ivory Aquino is set to appear in the film as Alicia Yeoh, a transgender woman with who is best friend to Grace. To Grace is Barbara Gordon's that character, so she's her best friend in there. The portrayal of transgender people in media has historically shaped much of the way society views them, as they tend to be absent in the personal lives of many. According to a study done by Pew Research in 2021, less than half of Americans personally know someone who is transgender, and I'm guessing that number is actually quite lower than half. Probably. I don't know if that many people know someone who is like that. But there's also been, there's non-binary characters showing up in these things now. I take no issue with them being in there. I take an issue with the media blitz that comes with them making themselves feel like they're somehow important to the world at large because they're acting in something that's essentially popcorn movie.
The attack that people are against representation is a complete misdirection from like, I don't think anyone really is against representation. What people are against is like the tokenization and like it being used like clearly for profit and for clout. You know that you're using like people's individuality as like a product
to sell.
To be consumed. And to market it, it's like ridiculous.
It's why whenever we get Pride Month, every company changes their logo except for ones in certain areas of the world, but nobody sees any issue with that, which I always find it's the hypocrisy that bothers me about it. Another thing about this is they're not even giving her like a studio release. This is like an HBO Max only. So in modern age, that's kind of the equivalent of like going straight to DVD. So she's not even getting like really a fair shake at the character on the big screen because they likely have no faith that a lesser known actress would be able to pull this off.
Or that we need a Batgirl movie.
That we don't.
That's really what this is about.
And this has gone through many changes. At one point, Joss Whedon was involved with this movie, and Joss Whedon is now kind of imploded within Hollywood and is not really allowed. You don't allow him alone with your women in Hollywood anymore, let's just say, after the articles that came out. So I just was wondering, so do you guys feel that if not for acting, what should they strive for? If not to be some type of beacon for a certain group, should they focus on just putting out the best product, or is there a place for that type of mindset? You said to me, or like you said here, you said you think it's mostly just PR people that are saying this stuff anyways.
Absolutely.
But do you think that for the ones that do believe it, there is a place for that, or should they just focus on providing the best movie-going experience for the audience and provide the best acting job for the directors and the writers who hire them?
If your thing is representation and causes, then be sure to, during your time, very actively be involved in causes and representation, you know? But this is your place of work, and you've been given a character, and not every character and every role is to be, you know, made like your little like
into a
fantasy.
Yeah, I was say, shouldn't she also have a duty to the writers and the creators of these characters to provide the best performance, to best convey the message that they want to get across with the movie?
They all want it. They like, I don't know. It's like, it's this little clique that they all want this stuff.
Yep.
Well, Brett, you were saying earlier that you just want to see stories about people, regardless of where they were born,
yes,
or what they are, really about who they are and what they do. But I mean, there's an argument that you could do both representation and a real story.
Yes.
But like, I haven't seen that accomplished yet because they're so heavy-handed with it.
The best stories transcend immutable characteristics and become about a person overcoming challenges or odds, or a group overcoming challenges or odds. And the moment you start implementing, I have more of the issue. It tends to be more with, because it's so modern day. And most of the stories that I love, if you made them now, the movie would still be good because the story itself is evergreen. It's a story of a hero overcoming strife and obstacles, personal discord, like all these things which are universally human experiences that go far beyond your immutable characteristics, which I really do believe should be the least interesting thing about you as a human being. I think we should be looking to who we are as people. That should go much deeper than what we look like on the outside.
I'm inclined to agree with Dane on this. I think this is mostly a PR statement, which I have no ability to judge whether or not this actress, you know, really does feel this responsibility or just feels like she should say that she feels this responsibility. Yeah. To me, it's more about a lack of confidence in how this project's going to turn out. It seems like they are using her nicheness as a Afro-Latina actress to promote the movie, and that maybe tells me that it's a TV show. I don't know what it is.
It's a movie on HBO Max.
It's a movie, and it just seems like they don't really have anything to say. So at a press junket, they're going to ask her a million times, so how do you feel about being the first Afro-Latina? Like, it to me actually bodes. It's an indication that this is not a very unique or very strong production, that they have to rely on her identity and on the tokenism of having her as the first Afro-Latina Batgirl.
And the movie to me has felt like an afterthought. Like there hasn't been a great amount. I mean, I guess the marketing, there hasn't been a trailer yet, but it feels like everything revolving around it. Just the fact that it's only getting an HBO Max release tells me that they don't have a lot of confidence in it.
Which again, like another tragic tale of like a great story ruined by like this energy.
We've reached like peak self-consciousness where every movie has to be referencing itself.
Right.
They don't actually write a story because they're breaking the fourth wall all the time, shoving these ideas into your face.
Yeah, they never immerse themselves in the character. It's more of like their performance of it. Like what we talked about in episode 99. Pretty much since Heath Ledger Joker, now everyone wants to give like their rendition of the character.
Yeah.
This is Dane Font on Pop Culture Crisis.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Like,
it's its own thing.
A phenomenon.
It's a phenomenon. I just
next topic. Sorry.
Dane's over it.
Dane is over it. So we'll see how it goes. I don't have a lot of faith.
Are you gonna watch it?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm gonna absolutely watch it. If for no other reason than I want to see how they.
But are you gonna watch it because this girl is the first Afro-Latina Batgirl?
No.
Yes.
Honestly, if we're being honest, the marketing works. It's like when I watch things like this, I want to see how heavy-handed they are with the messaging, and they get like 3 chances, like in the movie. I'm like, if the references are too heavy, I'm liable to turn it off because it takes away from the storytelling.
Will you turn off movies that you don't like, or do you feel obligated to finish movies once
No,
you
I'll
start
turn
them?
that. I'll turn that.
I
shit
leave
off.
movie theaters 10 minutes in.
Yeah.
Really?
I've never left a movie theater. Like that's a lot of money.
That's
Like,
a big commitment.
That's like
there.
a financial investment.
yeah, like I like, but if like I'm watching a movie, like I tried to watch Kimmy. I mentioned it yesterday. It's a movie with Zoe Kravitz, and it was just so bad that like halfway through, I just turned it off, and I'm like, we're not talking about this. I don't give a crap about this movie. But it's
I so rarely sit down to watch movies, and in a large part, it's because of this. Like, it takes me forever to pick something to watch, and then if it's bad, like, I feel like I have to stick it out because I don't want to have to start the process over of having to pick a movie to watch. So it's just easier not to watch any of them because they're so, I don't know. I can reliably guess based on one trailer what it's going to be about or what it's going to be trying to tell me, and I don't really like that in my entertainment, you know.
their issue was always they wanted to subvert expectations, and now they do that so much that it's exactly what the expectations are.
But wait, but before we go to the next subject, which is a subject I dearly love, I just want to say, you were talking about like shows that kind of like show representation in a tasteful way. We were a little bit talking about that.
Mm-hmm.
I like to compare the old French Prince of Bel-Air to whatever heap of shit is gonna come in the future.
Mm-hmm.
And like I think that's gonna be a super representation of past times and modern times, where past times were a bit more optimistic, and like modern times is all like the struggle.
That's an interesting point. Just the optimism. Like there was a sense of optimism and a sense of hope for the future, and that overcoming things in spite of the odds was more treasured. Whereas now it's about lamenting the odds in general.
And the righteousness would win.
Yes.
Like that was the, almost like the premise going forward, that the righteous women, whatever, would eventually win.
Yep. Thanks for watching this clip, guys. If you want to see full episodes or follow us on social media, links are in the description below. Bye.
Bye.